Hi guys, so first let me say that Keir Starmer is the only politician at the moment who's coming up with a plan, and a plan that's costed. Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss have their own ideas, but they lack so much detail that it's impossible to properly scrutinise them. Starmer told the Today programme that he would not, and I repeat, not nationalise the energy companies. His reasoning is that it would be wrong to hand over cash to shareholders. But there's a problem with that. Have a listen.
We're in an emergency situation now where millions of families are simply not going to be able to pay their bills this autumn if we don't do something about it. Under our plan, fully costed, every single penny will go on keeping those prices frozen and not allowing them to go up. So every single penny is going precisely every penny to stopping those bills so that every family, every household will benefit.
But you could argue, but the way you're doing it is by propping up the energy companies, and given the scale of money that we're talking about. Let me give you the second half of the point I'm trying to make. If we were to add nationalisation to our plan and add more cost to it through that, that would mean using the money to pay shareholders, because you don't nationalise for free. You've got to compensate the shareholders. So I would be having to come on your programme and say, I'm going to use X billion pounds not to reduce the bills for millions of people in the autumn, but actually to compensate shareholders. But it would give you control over those energy companies.
In an emergency, I just don't think that's the right choice.
But the TUC is saying that they're saying that it would be £2.5 billion to renationalise the energy company. I don't know whether you've looked at how much it might cost, but given that you're looking at 30 billion over 6 months, and you haven't ruled out taking further action, could be 60 billion over the course of a year, why not spend that money on renationalising the companies and then give security to their customers?
Because in an emergency like this, I think every penny should be used to reduce the bills of households across the country, not used to compensate shareholders.
Okay, now this is frustrating because, so at the beginning of this interview, he said, I want to spend every penny I can on, look, and let me be very clear here, Keir Starmer and the Labour Party are the only ones coming up with any real plan. The others are just messing about. But we have to be critical because this plan has a massive flaw in it. So he said at the beginning of this interview that he would use every penny he can to keep prices low. How would he do that? Well, obviously he would compensate the energy companies. So the energy companies will be handed cash. He said he wouldn't nationalise the energy companies because that would be handing the energy company shareholders cash. Either way, the energy companies are making money. It would make more sense to nationalise. Once again, energy prices are rising, and this package that he's talking about could cost £30 billion. The TUC has said it would cost £2.5 billion to nationalise the energy companies. Now let's say they're wrong by, if it cost 10 times that, £25 billion, it would still be cheaper than propping up these companies. And you would have total control over these energy companies, which would mean that you can fix the price. You set the price as high or as low as you want. Gives you complete control. And we're also hearing it's not just households that are suffering, it's also businesses. Businesses are closing down. They're reducing their week from 7 to 3 days because they can't afford these rising energy prices. So if the government was in charge for the price of £3 billion, let's say, they would be able to set the price. Now, why is Keir Starmer not doing this? Why is he not nationalising these energy companies? I'm afraid it's because he wants to keep the far right in society happy. He wants to win over these voters in these marginal seats who are, people who read the Sun newspaper or the Daily Mail and are ex-Labour voters, and he feels he needs to win these people back. So he can't talk about nationalisation because for them it's toxic, or they have been convinced by right-wing media that it is toxic. So he's not going to touch it. But it would make economic sense. It would make political sense. It would be the perfect solution Yes, it would cost money, but you would have control over these companies, so you would be able to set the price. Giving these companies instead a handout just means they'll be back in a few months' time asking for another handout. And it's going to become very, very expensive. Now, as I said at the beginning, at least Keir Starmer is coming up with an idea. The others are not. And Boris Johnson, what is he doing? Well, he's on holiday again. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.